Hi, and welcome to the 13th tutorial for this class. This is going to be on plotting, and I'm using one of the students' homework assignments from last week, and as you can see, they put their objects on the correct layers, which I didn't ask you to do, but was great. And so I just wanted you to see what it looked like, and I want you to keep this in mind in future projects. You will be putting the correct items on the correct layers. So, for example, this building was put on the building layer. If you go to the Home tab, you can see there it's on the building layer. The fence is on the fence layer. The property line is on the PL layer. And then all the annotations and dimensioning are on the dimension layer, DIM layer. So it was a good example. I wanted to show it to you, plus it'll be helpful to see some things once we get to plotting. So let's go ahead and go over here, hit print, and let's talk about the dialog box here. First of all, you can name and create page setup. So here you could select a page setup, and it has certain settings associated with that. I'm not going to do that, but what I usually select here is previous plot. So it'll keep the settings from the last time you plotted, and so that's something you might want to consider doing yourself, because you usually will plot with the same settings over and over again. So when you do previous plots, it's helpful to have that there. On the printer plotter, if you have a printer hooked up, you could print to that here. Most of you won't have a large printer, so we've been using the PDF, which works just the same. So select here Drawing to PDF, and here you can change the properties of that printer, and it can get pretty detailed. I don't recommend that you change any of the settings here unless you are familiar with your printer or have a large plotter and want to do that, but shouldn't be necessary for our purposes of this class. The next thing here is you can change the paper size, and the good thing about printing to PDF is you can print to any size paper, even if you don't have a plotter. And they have lots already set up, and some in metric units, and then ANSI is inches. So again, 11 by 17 or ANSI-B is the more common one that we'll be printing to. If we get to a big size plot, those full-size sheets that you see are generally printed to 24 by 36. And so that would be like Arch D is what I generally would pick for 24 by 36. But let's pick 11 by 17. And the plot area here, you can print the window. And what a window would do is, if I say here, I want to pick the window, and I just wanted to print this area over here, it would just hit print that area. I'm going to hit preview just to see. It didn't work because I got the scale wrong. Fit to paper. Preview. So it just would print the window that I selected. So you can do that, or you can do the display. So what is showing on my screen currently, what is in my display window will print. Extents is what I've shown you before. So it'll show the extent of the drawing. Now if you have something hiding out in the far reaches of your drawing, that's not a good one to use, because it's not gonna print it correctly. Limit, you can also print to limit. But for the most part, I pick either extents or window. So let's select extents for this one. And I've been picking center the plot, but once we get to using our borders, you'll actually want to offset this a little bit so that there's room for binding on the left side. So you'll want it to be offset on the x-axis just a little bit. We'll keep the y at where it is, and we'll offset it on the x-axis just a little bit. So on the left side of your paper, you'll have enough room for the bind, for if it is being bound. Okay, again, here's your plot scale. You can fit it to paper if you're not really concerned with the unit, but we are here, and this person's drawing is at 200, so we're going to change that to 200 right here, and then we can preview. Okay, so this is what it would look like on the paper, and you can see here that it would print it blue and magenta and green because that is the color of the line, but I'm about to show you how to print this in black and white and to have certain colors associated with certain line weights. So I'm going to hit exit here, and to change how your plot styles are, how to change your plot style, you can click on this little arrow here with more options. And here you can select your plot style table. And this basically is talking about pin assignment, and it's talking about the pins on the plotter. So what each pin on the plotter, what style of pin assignments you want to use. And AutoCAD comes with several out-of-the-box plot style tables. ACAD.CTV, and the CTV is the type of file it is. This one is black and white, and this is one I've actually created and you will duplicate. But I'm not going to show you it, but that's what your homework assignment will be, create a black and white one. You can do fill patterns, a grayscale, monochrome, and then screening, and then here you can select new to create a new one. So let's select ACAD, and it says assign this to all layout, sure. And it's talking about shading the plots. I'm not concerned with that. Plot options. I've never really messed with this, but you want to make sure that the plot with plot styles is selected. And then you can also select the drawing orientation here. And it's currently landscape. So even though it's showing portrait here, you've selected landscape here. So that's the way it's going to print. Okay, so let's click on this edit here so that we can take a look at the plot style table and see what it looks like. These different tabs up here, this is general information about the plot style table. And then you can look at it in a table view, but it's much easier to look at it in the form view. So this is the same information, it's just a different way of looking at it. And so as you see over here, we have different colors. We have magenta, we have green, and those colors have number associated with them. So magenta is color 6, green is color 3, red is color 1, and for the most part, I think color 9 is about as far as it goes, or most colors are kept within that range of colors. And then there's 255 colors that you can assign, but for the most part you could stick with the first 9 and have plenty of colors to draw your drawing, and it keeps it kind of simple so that your line weights are associated with one color, and you can put various line weights with each color. Okay, so let's look at the properties. This plot style for color 1, the color is to use the object color. So we're going to, you could say you want color 1 to print cyan. This is what it's talking about, what color you want to print. And so we're going to print that color. So if you were using this ACAD.CTV and you printed color, if you had a line type that was red, it would print red. And the grayscale is off, pin number is automatic, virtual pin number is automatic, screening 100. I'm not really concerned with most of those things. Use the object line type. You can associate a line type with that color. I'm not concerned with that. but what I am concerned with is line weight. So it's saying use the object line weight. So whatever you've assigned to it in the drawing is what weight it's going to print. What we're going to do when we create this new plot style table is we're going to tell color 1 to print a specific weight. So all you have to do is select that color in your drawing and you know that it's going to print at a specific weight. It's going to be thicker or thinner than other lines. And we're going to assign those weights to colors 1 through 9. And we're going to change the color to black because for the most part you're going to be printing in black and white. And so what this black and white .ctd, that's the file we're going to create. We're going to make all these colors print black. We're just going to change the line weights associated with them. And so once you put a PL on a PL layer or a boundary line on a PL layer, we're going to make green really thick. So it will print thick when we print it to the plot style. Okay, so I'll provide the list of line weights to you, and when you go to line weight here, you can see that you can pick the width in millimeters, and we're going to change that. So we need to go here to this box that say edit line weight, and currently it's in millimeters, and we're just going to select inches here and say OK. And so now when we go to line weight, it's in inches. So I'll give you a list of the colors and what line weight is associated with those colors, and you can go in and change them, and we're going to create a new one. It kind of shows you how thick that line would be at that inch, at that line weight. So I don't want to save the changes of that. So I'm going to show you what black and white is going to look like. I'm going to assign it there, and I'm going to show you what it'll look like on this drawing. So let's hit preview. And as I zoom in, you can tell already that the boundary line is a thicker line weight than the other line. And then the building is one line weight, the fence is a line weight. So you can see here that by changing that plot style table, it assigned a line weight to the colors. Okay, so you're going to be asked to create a new one, and I want to show you how to do that. So go down here to New, and you're going to start from scratch. You could start from other types of files, from an old import R14 is like from an AutoCAD 14. You're not going to have that information, so we're just going to start from scratch. And in here you can it asks you your name, and I want you to name it black and white. But for this point in this exercise, I'm just going to say New. And then you can hit Plot Style Table Editor, and it'll bring you in here. Make all your changes in here. Be sure and change that to black for the color. Change it to black, and then change the line weight here associated with it that I've asked you to. And when you're done, you'll hit Save and Close. Okay, and then you'll hit Finish. And then you should have a new one created, okay? So that's how I want you to do the plot style tables. I'm going to do a separate tutorial for Paperspace. I'll teach you how to do it, but I haven't asked you to do an assignment in it. I think Paperspace can be a little bit complicated sometimes to get the hang of it, but I want you to play with it. So anyways, that's the basics of plotting, and we'll talk about Paperspace in the next tutorial.